are just a few books that have been written about actors and acting. Take this quotation from Irish actor Michael McLemore. "We are born at the rise of the curtain, and we die at its fall. And every night, in the presence of our patrons, we write our new creation." Certainly that is true for live theater, but some actors' work is preserved on film and in television. Today we're going to meet an actress who has worked both on stage and in front of a camera.
Well, theater, the best part of my job is hearing people laugh. It gives me a great thrill. Television, the best part of my job is the paycheck.
There you go.
Michael Caine would no doubt agree with Paula on the importance of earning a living. First of all, I choose the great roles, and if none of them come, I choose the mediocre ones. And if they don't come, I choose the ones that pay the rent. Or as Peter Ustinov explained, the only reason I made a commercial for American Express was to pay for my American Express bill.
I'm very fortunate because I'm a working actress in Cleveland, which is unusual. I can continue my craft and also raise a family. And I travel quite a bit now with the show that I'm in. I travel to different cities as an understudy. But I'm able to have a family, and I have the financial position that I can support myself. That's a big thing. If you want to get into this business, you're going to have to find something to help you support yourself in the first few years because it's from job to job. And so you got to have something to pay the rent in the meantime.
There are some wonderful anecdotes about how famous actors got their start, and horror stories about auditions. My favorite is the notes written by an executive at Paramount Studios following an audition by a newcomer. The notes say, "Can't act, can't sing, balding, can dance a little." He was writing about the famous actor, singer, dancer, Fred Astaire. As Paula performs, she tells us how to get jobs in the performing arts.
You audition, 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 and audition. And you're not going to get the first one, you're not going to get the second one, and maybe you don't even get the third one, but you keep auditioning. And each time you audition, you're going to learn something else. You're going to learn, and it's going to just put you a little bit further along than the next person. So you're ready for it when it comes along. The talent comes first, because not everyone, even though they have had good training, is a good actor. So I truly feel they have to have the talent first, and they have to have the drive and the ambition. It's a business with lots of rejection, and you're putting yourself out on the line every time you step out on a stage or in front of a camera. People are looking at you and judging you. And so you better have a pretty strong core and a strong talent to back it up. When you go for a commercial or a film audition, they have in their mind what they want to see. And you could physically just be a few inches too tall, or you could have the wrong eye color.
Actor Paul Newman could relate to that. He once said that he envisioned his tombstone reading, "Here lies Paul Newman, who died a failure because his eyes turned brown." Being cast sometimes has very little to do with you, and a lot more to do with the director.
So I wish I knew that years ago. Then I would not take it so seriously, because the first few auditions that you go to and you get rejected, they hurt so badly.
You're crushed. Right?
You're crushed. But then you go home and you have to think, well, maybe I wasn't just what they had in mind, and quit taking it personally.
We've all heard stories of how some famous actors got started almost by accident. Tom Selleck said, "I was planning to go into architecture, but when I arrived, architecture was filled up. Acting was right next to it, so I signed up for acting instead."
In my case, I was very fortunate because I got into a professional show right out of college, and I was scared to death to begin with. I got a lead role right out of college. Then, after that run ended, I had 2 years where I didn't work at all, and so I was just out there auditioning constantly and thinking, maybe this is not the career for me. But if you live in a city like Cleveland, let's say, you don't have agents who represent you, so you have to represent yourself. get out there, get your headshot, get your resume put together, hand it out to everybody and anybody. And while you're waiting for a professional job to come along, get involved in community theater. Keep your craft going. That keeps you on your toes. And you'll make connections along the way.
Most successful actors have discovered that you never really stop perfecting your craft. It's an ongoing education. Actress Glenda Jackson put it this way: acting provides the fulfillment of never being fulfilled. You're never as good as you'd like to be, so there's always something to hope for.
I'm always learning. Just this past weekend, we had an interesting performance. We had an understudy in from out of town, and for some reason, she kind of just vacated the premises for a minute. And we have to cover. So you have to think on your feet and learn how to cover that. And that's what live television is. That's what live theater is. You're out there and you're thinking on your feet, and you better be good at it to succeed. I also, like I said, understudy in different cities. So I may arrive 20 minutes before a performance, and I've never set foot on that stage. So I go out there and I've got 1,000 people in the audience waiting to see a good show. I better learn how to fake it real quick and how to think on my feet. And that's what I like about it. It's a challenge. Every time you perform, it's a challenge. Your goal is to get the best show possible you can get out there for them.
Paula realizes another important factor in acting: the audience. It's why many actors prefer the theater to all other mediums. Katharine Hepburn even went so far as to say that if you give an audience a chance, they will do half your acting for you.
I'd say what draws me to the whole world of theater, I enjoy theater most, and what draws me to that is I'm able to perform a show and entertain an audience for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and let them forget all their worries, take the outside world, leave it outside the door, and come in and be transported into a whole nother era or situation, and watch them forget their troubles and just have a relaxing evening. And that's what I enjoy most about it.
What about acting in front of a camera? Film actress Daryl Hannah describes it like this: acting in front of a movie camera is like having someone you have a crush on watching you from afar. You pretend it's not there. The acting skills needed are the same, yet they are applied differently.
I have to watch myself when I do television after I've been doing stage, because on stage, obviously, we speak louder. All of our gestures are bigger. And in television, when I first started out in television, the audio man was always yelling at me and saying, "Paula, you don't have to talk so loud. You're wearing a microphone. And you don't have to gesture so big. We're on a real tight shot of you." So, yeah, I do have to think about what I'm doing, and I have to scale it down for the little bitty lens.
But whether it's live theater or film or television, actors know that they rely on a lot of other people. As composer John Kander puts it, there is a kind of classlessness in the theater. The rehearsal pianist, the head carpenter, the stage manager, the star of the show, all are family. The best collaborations are when everyone understands this.
I hate to be in a show where I'm feeling like I'm the only one out there. It is a team effort. I refuse to work with actors and actresses who come out there and think it's all about them. And in professional theater, you come across that quite often, and unfortunately, you come across that in community theater, which really makes me angry as a director when I see that happening. But it is a team effort, and I'm not just talking about who's out in front. I'm talking who's running the lights and who's helping move the set and who made your costume and everything. That is one group. That's a team. And every show you do, it's kind of a family. You get connected as a family. You may not like everybody. We don't like everybody in our families. But you still have a common bond, a common goal. And so you become a team, and when that show's on, you move on to a new team.
I found lots of advice from aspiring actors in these books. Actor Spencer Tracy summed it up in one sentence: know your lines and don't bump into the furniture. It certainly worked for him, but for most actors, it's a lot more involved than that. Paula has her own tips.
I always recommend that they take a dance class, diction class, and if there are dialect classes offered, which there are in some high schools now, dialects, and get out there and audition for every show you can, not just at your school, but also in the community. If they're going into television, the same thing applies because you're going to use all those skills on stage also. But you also want to take public speaking. Get on a debate team. Get used to being in front of people. Get used to memorizing. And all the skills will all, work together. Now, I have a little trick that I've used for years, and I got this from Carol Channing, who told us, always look at your shoes, and always work in your shoes that you're going to use as a part when you're for a character's part. And those shoes will tell you who you are. And for instance, if I'm playing an older woman, I wear a flatter heel, and that puts me a little heavier in my shoes. If I'm trying to play younger, I'm going to wear a higher heel, and that's going to put me up, and my carriage is going to be different. So I prepare, I put my shoes on. That's the very first thing I do when I get to the theaters. I put my shoes on and start thinking of who this character really is, because your shoes will tell it all.
So with all her time on stage and in front of a camera, how do you suppose Paula defines success?
It depends on how far you want to go in the business. I'm content with what I get to do now because I keep getting work. I'm fortunate in that area, and I can have my family life also, and I can live where I want to live.
Reading all these books on acting would no doubt help actors who are just starting out. But even better is to experience it themselves. Let's meet some young actors who are doing just that.
To do a good performance, you really have to get away. You have to let your speech take you somewhere else, and you forget who you are. You have to become your character, and you have to, well, of course, work hard at it.
You really have to put your entire self into it. You have to internalize everything. You have to do a lot of script analyzation. You have to, really dig deep into the character.
You've got to have a pretty good memory, attention to detail in acting. The little things really do matter. You got to have good projection, good stage presence, and you've got to be able to totally let go of your own person in a way. I mean, you learn to rely on other people, and you have to learn how to be comfortable with that, especially when you're out on stage, because, I mean, the whole show, and in fact, your character, you are out there relying on everybody else to do their job, and it's a scary feeling, but if you can just relax with it, it's almost calming that it's just out of your hands, and that it builds a lot of trust and sense of community. For people like me, I'm not much into sports, so this gives kids like me another way to feel part of their school, to contribute something.
Let's close our discussion of actors and acting with one more quote. It's from award-winning actor Daniel Day-Lewis. The one thing about performance, even if it's only an illusion, is that it is a celebration of the fact that we do contain within ourselves infinite possibilities. Exploring those possibilities is what being an actor is all about.
Funding for this series was provided by the Northeastern Ohio Education Association. NEOEA members include elementary and secondary teachers, university professors, and support professionals working to provide great public schools for every child.